This is Close Encounters. Close Encounters. True stories, real people. Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms.
Yes, hello and welcome to Close Encounters with me, Anne Donaldson. My guest today is Peter Lee. Welcome, Peter, to Close Encounters.
Good to be with you.
It's lovely to have you here today. Now, Peter describes himself as a follower of Jesus, but he hasn't always been, and I'm sure we're going to hear more about that, but also a horticulturist. So, Peter, we're really interested to hear your story. I know you were born in Newcastle-under-Lyme.
Correct.
You're going to tell us a little bit about your early years.
Yeah. I was brought up in a loving family, but not Christian in any way, shape or form, really. Mum had a Catholic background and my dad had a Church of England background. I got a sister, younger sister, and a younger brother. And for a long time we used to go and play in the woods, very much outside sort of orientated, enjoying the countryside, probably getting up to quite a bit of mischief in the process. But we're always outside come rain or shine.
Lovely. So a real free, lovely time as a child growing up.
Yeah, I mean, there was a time when my dad took me and my brother up towards a Sunday school location, and we just said, no way are we going. We don't want anything to do with it. We'll run away. We won't attend. So that was sort of an early memory to do with God, but something that was, a deep-seated problem within me.
Okay.
I felt sort of on reflection.
Yeah. So what is your earliest, beyond that, your earliest good memory of God as a child?
I think it was almost like an inspiration from the beauty that I could see around me. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe the people I was with, my friends and whatever, didn't sort of feel that way, but I certainly felt that way. And, even as a young child, I can remember sort of writing stuff down about, the sun shining through the trees and stuff like that. That I got this appreciation of, what I know to be now God's creation and how magnificent it is. And I had this family who my mum was really interested in gardening. My uncle was interested in gardening, and he helped me, gave me various newspapers to read about gardening. And I can always remember getting up my nan's, and there was this big mysterious gate, and beyond it was this absolutely, to me, like a secret garden. Uh-huh. It was just an allotment with glass houses and tomatoes and stuff, but to me it was how mysterious. And we only went in there a couple of times a year, so it was
more mysterious.
Yes.
Yeah, how lovely.
That's the sort of background.
That's been in you right through your life then, hasn't it? That's a God-given passion and desire right from birth, I suppose.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
and
wonderful.
And it was, there was nobody in the family who was sort of interested really in gardening to make a career out of it. It was very much expected, perhaps later on in life that you'd follow in your father's footsteps and go into whatever employment he was in.
Yeah. So I know you told me at one point that you were given a children's Bible. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, it was Christmas, and I remember opening a present, and it was quite hefty, and I wondered what was in there. And when I opened it, it was a Hamlin's Children's Bible, which I still have to this day. And you hear about stories through school and stuff like that about David and Goliath, and about the Israelites crossing the Red Sea, but it very much brought those stories to life, because there were like paintings or illustrations in there that were very vivid, and they weren't just like a line drawing with a happy face. They were sort of people with consternation or whatever written all over the face, that they were in a place of trouble. And the stories were, I mean, there weren't any verses or chapters in it. It was just the story, and it brought those things sort of to life. So, you know, reading about creation and stuff like that, it, you know, I could well believe that, you know, there was a God, and that he did create what I was seeing around me, you know.
Yeah. So that children's Bible actually had a big impact, didn't it, over a number of years?
Yeah, and perhaps later on we'll speak about some more about that.
That's wonderful. I think we're going to take a break, and we're going to listen to your first choice of music. Would you like to introduce it, Peter?
It's called Symphony. It's live, and it's from the Passion Band.
Yes, welcome back to Close Encounters. I'm Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Peter Lee. Now, Peter, just before we were listening to your song there, we were talking about your love for gardening, for nature and creation in general. So when it came time to the end of your schooling, what happened?
Well, I can remember being in a classroom, and we were all asked, are you going to walk in your father's footsteps and go into the same employment? So it went round the room, and there was a lot of people who were going to go be a plumber, like the dad was a plumber, or going into accounting because the dad was an accountant or whatever. When it came to me, I said, I'm definitely not walking in my father's footsteps. I'm going to be a horticulturist. And nobody knew what I was talking about. And that drive to, no matter what, follow this passion I'd got for gardening, but to learn about it in a deeper, more almost like intellectual sort of way, as well as a practical way as well. So I did end up going to study horticulture at Writtle Agricultural College, which is near Chelmsford in Essex. So it was quite a move away from home. But to get there, you had to sort of get some practical experience before you could go on the course. So not being living in the countryside and not knowing anybody in the industry, it was very difficult to actually find the practical experience, the 12 months that was required before you could go. So it wasn't just about getting your O levels or whatever, it was about gaining that practical experience. So it was a very difficult time to try and get into the industry, but somebody gave me a chance, and I've always been grateful for that chance. And when it came, I thought I'd got 12 months, but actually they rang me up and said, look, can you start Monday? So I ended up sort of not having anywhere to stay, moving away from home,
Yeah.
and starting a job that I loved.
That's wonderful. So, big change very suddenly.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, during this time, did your thoughts turn to God at all or not?
Again, there's sort of a joy in what I could see and touch. You know, I did wonder where it came from.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because although somebody's got a slight interest in gardening or does a little bit of pottery, it's a big move from gardening to this is going to be my way of life.
Yes.
And I'm going to do this because I really enjoy this. So it's sort of those questions kept sort of like coming up, and also this awe of you know, creation that I'm actually you know living in. It never left me. And there were moments when, you know, I could look at the way the sun was shining through a tree or something, and just think, well, you know, there must be a God. You know, there must be a God. But how to reach him?
Yeah. Very interesting, because that awareness, I think when you spend time close to creation, like horticulture, farming, other aspects, you do see that there has to be a God, a creator God behind this.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And did you stop reading the Bible? You'd been reading through the children's Bible. Had you outgrown that? Had you got a grown-up version?
No. I still sort of went back and dabbled.
Did you?
Yeah. But I was a bit more sort of structured, whereas before I'd dip in and dip out. I decided, you know, to read it from cover to cover.
Did you?
So it took a while, but you know, it familiarised me with the main sort of stories, and then sort of reading the gospel, I'd sort of kept away from the gospel, but you know, I read about sort of Jesus's life, and I could identify with it sort of more.
Yeah.
You know.
So there was that searching, that there was something going on even at that time, but what was happening socially? You know, what were you finding?
Well, I remember when I was at college that I'd got a friend who said, well, why don't we go to the Christian Union? And I sort of looked at her and said, are you mad or something? So despite having this sort of you know, response to creation and thinking privately about a God, there was a very public necessity to go to this Christian Union, and I rebelled against that. I didn't want to go, but he persuaded me, and so we went along. And it was so over the top to me at that time.
Yeah.
People raising their hands and shouting out about Jesus and God. It was just sort of like, it was too much.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So I sort of rebelled against it. I said, I'm not going there again.
Yeah.
You know, and I didn't.
No.
But there were people on campus who were Christians, and they acted differently.
Yeah.
Whereas I was sort of like going out. I couldn't afford like lots of drink or whatever, but you know what little was left, I spent on boozing up the students' bar, and you know. So
that was more where you felt you fitted in socially.
Yes,
it was in the students' bar or in a pub.
Yeah, and that sort of carried on. You know, when I was in digs, or when I was my leisure time at weekends or something, I'd go to the pub, and you know, we'd be drinking excessively, as young men sometimes do. And that, as I got into employment, that started to sort of take over my life a bit. That I was certainly drinking to excess, and that drinking culture sort of was my main social activity, really.
Yeah.
Perhaps go and see a few bands or something, but everything revolved about the pub. And I used to think about Good Friday being Bad Friday because of the drinking hours were cut down.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about your love and interest in music. So we're going to listen to your second choice now. And could you introduce that for us?
Yeah, it's called Mysterious Ways, and it's by Kim Hill.
And my guest today is Peter Lee. And Peter, we were hearing about living life as one of the lads, but there was a deep-seated loneliness in there, wasn't there?
Yeah, I mean, for I don't know, many months or perhaps years, I never really was able to pinpoint what it was. But I remember that I was in a particular pub at one time, and I met this girl who is now my wife, and things just seemed to be different about her, something different about her. And I remember my friends at the time taking the mickey out of me from a distance, because I was actually speaking to this girl and not them. And they thought it was really funny. I suppose they were the scoffers and mockers. There's a story in the Bible about that. But I felt at ease, and I started going out with this girl. And we went out for about 2 years, and I found out quite soon that she was a Christian, and her family were Christians as well. And I did meet the family, and they were great people. They were just so welcoming and hospitable, and they didn't put their hands up, and they didn't do all that sort of thing. So I was at ease with them, and I liked them.
Yeah. So there was something about her that was very different.
Yes. I suppose there was a peace about her, and she was very loving, and but at the same time there was still part of me that was almost in rebellion, and I couldn't really commit to that relationship. It was as if I was being pulled this way and that, and I suppose you tend to sort of go back to what you know. So we did split up, and I went back to the drinking and the social hub of the pub being the centre of my existence. But there was almost like a bitter taste in my mouth, and I suppose I had to go through a period of time of reflection, of looking at what I was doing, what I was saying, and the aftermath. Because you have too much to drink, and you have a hangover, and you feel absolutely terrible. So most people, if they feel terrible after an event, would not do that thing again. But I did it repeatedly, again and again, and it was affecting my home life, my family, that sort of thing. And it wasn't good for me. And there was a time, one particular incident where I'd arranged to go out with somebody and they didn't turn up, and I was, where are they? What's going on here? And I went to find out what was happening, and they'd chosen to go out to another event and hadn't even told me about it. So I was quite hurt by that. But at the same time, there was part of me that said, right, I'm going to prove you wrong. So I went out anyway, and it was to the pub, and I was just drinking. And I remember sitting there and sipping this pint of beer, and there were so many people around just enjoying themselves, and yet I was so lonely. It was just unfathomable, really. And over 18 months or so, I came to recognise that loneliness, and that I'd met somebody that was really nice and wanted the best for me. And again, I was out in a pub with some friends, and I just thought, I don't want this anymore. And somebody said to me, I've seen Anne, that's my wife now, I've seen Anne in a pub, but if you're not serious, then don't go and speak to her, because I don't want to be that person who upsets her, because I've told you where she is. So I went to see her, and basically we got back together again. Yeah,
the penny dropped.
Yeah.
This is the person I want to be with. That's lovely. Yeah. And can you introduce the next song and the reason why you've chosen it?
In the pub that where I met my future wife, these songs by this artist were constantly played, and it has some relevance to a later event, and it's called Whenever God Shines His Light by Van Morrison, and it features Cliff Richard.
Wow. Yes, thank you. This is Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms with me, Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Peter Lee. And Peter, you were talking about the penny dropped. You wanted to be with this beautiful girl.
Yeah, that's right. And I finally relented on going to church. Anne kept asking me to go, and I said, well, all right then, I'll go. I'll go. Just this once, I'll go. And when I walked through the door, that was the most difficult thing, I think. But it was easy getting in with somebody.
Yeah.
And as soon as I walked through the door, I could see that people were really friendly. They were very hospitable, and they were all smiling faces, and they were just going about their little jobs and stuff, and there was a buzz about the place, and it was the exact opposite of that feeling that I'd got in the pub where there were all these people around, and I was lonely as anything. Here there was a lot of people around, and even though I was reluctantly attending this venue, I felt like these people had some caring nature that was directed at me.
Yeah, made you feel valuable, or made you feel you belonged.
Yeah. And somebody came up to me, a lady who's not with us now, but she came up to me and she said, we've been praying for you. lots of people here have been praying for you. And I was absolutely gobsmacked that, people would care so much to pray.
Yeah.
I knew about praying, but I'd never really prayed, and I'd never been the knowing recipient of prayer. But Anne explained to me about things, and like I say, I was gobsmacked, and it wasn't as bad as I thought it'd be. In fact, it wasn't too bad at all.
Yeah.
And I said, well, maybe I'll come every other week.
Yeah.
But quite rapidly, I really enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed being around these people that had got something, and listening to the word just then opened up the stories that I knew about from my children's Bible, and I started sort of looking back on them, and revisiting them.
Yeah, whoever gave you that Bible, would have no idea of how it would thread through your life to such a significant way. That's so good.
Well, I think my mum and dad bought it me. I mean, they bought me some other books as well, some history books and stuff, but I certainly,
So you started you did an Alpha course?
Yeah, I did that after. I mean, I got married first.
Oh,
Don't
did
forget
you?
about that.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, in mid 90s, I got married at the church. So that was at the time that was Pencle Christian Fellowship, and I remember it was so cold on the day. It was like freezing fog, but like today. Very cold, but it was such a great day. And I remember being at the reception, and you have all the speeches, and I was doing my speech, and I asked the best man to go out and get the flowers for the bride's mum and etc. And I was standing there, and nothing happened.
Yeah.
And seconds passed, and it seemed like hours. And I sent somebody after the best man to find out what was going on, and they didn't come back. So I thought, what am I going to say?
Yeah.
And I just thought, right, I'll say this. So I said something like, well, I might as well share with you in this moment that I have recently become a Christian. And I could see all these sort of faces going, what's going on here? Like, Peter doesn't become a Christian, that sort of thought going through the head.
Yeah.
And I saw my pastor in the crowd, and he was going like, encouraging from a distance, And so I got up. Eventually the flowers came, and the moment ended. And as you go around the tables thanking people for coming and that sort of thing, there was a moment when I went to a table where some friends were there, and some family, and they all just sort of said to one guy, just blurted out straight away, what's all this about? You becoming a Christian?
Yeah.
I was absolutely gobsmacked. He said, I looked round the table, and everybody's jaw was on the table. They could not believe it, what they were hearing and what they were seeing.
Yeah.
What's all this about?
Yeah.
I remember that moment. It was very vivid.
Very, very. It would be sharing publicly that you have become a follower of Jesus. It does something not only to you as well as the people who are hearing it. So that was your public acknowledgement of becoming a follower of Jesus.
Well, when I did get baptised in church by full immersion, I would say, you have to give your testimony.
Yeah.
And as I got up to give my testimony, my pastor said, well, actually, Peter's already given his testimony at his wedding reception.
Yeah.
He said, I was fortunate to be there when he announced to everybody that he was a Christian.
Oh, that's beautiful. And so it was after that you did the Alpha?
Yeah. I was encouraged, to why don't you do an Alpha course?
Yeah.
And somebody explained to me what it was about, and I was so eager to find out about this Jesus, about this God, and it really laid the foundations of my faith.
Yeah.
So I'm really grateful for that opportunity to share within a very trusting group of people.
Yeah. If anyone's listening and they resonate with what Peter's been sharing, you just have to look online for where a nearest Alpha group is running, and most churches run them from time to time, and it does give the opportunity to explore the basics of the Christian faith in a safe environment. So your faith is developing and growing, but I think we need to pause for your next choice of music, and would you like to introduce it?
Yeah, it's called The Great I Am by Jake Hamilton, and it was my first encounter with Christian rock worship music, and you need to play this loud to appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. Welcome back to Close Encounters with me, Anne Donaldson, and my guest today is Peter Lee. And Peter, I know that you have a love of music, and that's come through with the wide variety of the choices today. Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, I've always been sort of interested in music. I can remember obviously listening to the radio like most kids do, but there was a time when my dad got into music, and I remember one Christmas that we said about buying a cheap stereo system, and he said no, we're not going to have that. Anyway, Christmas Day came, we came downstairs to the sound of this absolutely beautiful stereophonic sound. I remember getting in the front room, and there was all these fancy record players, tape recorder, speakers, amplifiers and whatever, and he bought this absolutely top of the range stereo system. So I started to listen to rock music, and loads of different sorts of music. I mean, he was very much into classical, but I quite like classical music as well. So that's where it all started. And then I did go to see bands, so I can remember going to see Queen at a big concert venue. I went to see Thin Lizzy. I went to see Wishbone Ash, and loads of rock bands. But as I got to know Jesus, this song came on the radio when I was with my wife, and she got Cross Rhythms on, and that last song that we played, The Great I Am, was one of the first Christian pieces of music that I really listened to, and I was just blown away by it, that you could have Christian rock music. So I started to listen to try and listen to different sorts of music. Some I didn't like, some I did. So I mean, I liked stuff like Jackie Velasquez, For God So Loved the World, and that resonated because years previously, I'd seen it written, John 3:16, on a bridge over a railway line in North Wales, and I asked my wife what it was, and that was before I was a Christian, and she said, well, don't you know what that means? Go and look it up in the Bible. So I did look it up in the Bible, and I was just blown away by it, really.
John 3:16, for people who don't know, is, for God so loved the world that he gave his only son, that whoever would believe in him would not perish but have everlasting life. Yeah,
so it's sort of like, I suppose it's like two separate chords. This interest I've got in horticulture, and this developing interest in all things Christian and to do with Jesus. Two separate chords, but joined together these days, very much so.
It's lovely, Peter, because you're a man of great faith, and what we're talking about is well in the past. But today, I just want to say thank you for being here, for sharing some of your story. And could you just introduce your final choice of music, please?
It's called Pages, and it's by Leeland.
Thank you.
Close Encounters on Cross Rhythms. True stories, real people.